Part One of The Real Mother Goose. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. This reading by Allyson Hester of Athens, Georgia. The Real Mother Goose by Anonymous. Little Bo Peep. Little Bo Peep has lost her sheep and can't tell where to find them. Leave them alone and they'll come home and bring their tails behind them. Little Bo Peep fell fast asleep and dreamt she heard them bleating. But when she awoke she found it a joke, for still they were all fleeting. Then up she took her little crook, determined for to find them. She found them indeed, but it made her heart bleed, for they'd left all their tails behind 'em. It happened one day, as Bo Peep did stray Unto a meadow hard by, There she espied their tails, side by side, All hung on a tree to dry. She heaved a sigh, and wiped her eye, And over the hillocks she raced, And tried what she could, as a shepherdess should, That each tail should be properly placed. End of Little Bo Peep. Little Boy Blue. Little Boy Blue, come blow your horn. The sheep's in the meadow, the cow's in the corn. Where's the little boy that looks after the sheep? Under the haystack, fast asleep. End of the Little Boy Blue. Rain. Rain, rain, go away. Come again another day. Little Johnny wants to play. End of Rain. Winter. Cold and raw the north wind doth blow, Bleak in the morning early. All the hills are covered with snow, And winter's now come fairly. End of Winter. The clock. There's a neat little clock, In the schoolroom it stands, And it points to the time with its two little hands. And may we, like the clock, Keep a face clean and bright, With hands ever ready to do what is right. End of the clock. Fingers and toes. Every lady in this land Has 20 nails upon each hand, 25 on hands and feet. All this is true without deceit. End of Fingers and Toes. A seasonable song. Piping hot, smoking hot, What I've got you have not. Hot gray peas, hot, 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 Hot gray peas, hot. End of a seasonable song. Dame Trot and her cat. Dame Trot and her cat led a peaceable life, When they were not troubled with other folks' strife. When Dame had her dinner, Pussy would wait, And was sure to receive a nice piece from her plate. End of Dame Trot and her cat. 3 children on the ice. 3 children sliding on the ice, Upon a summer's day. As it fell out, they all fell in, The rest they ran away. Oh, had these children been at school, Or sliding on dry ground, 10,000 pounds to 1 penny, They had not then been drowned. Ye parents who have children dear, And ye too who have none, If you would keep them safe abroad, Pray keep them safe at home. End of 3 children on the ice. The Old Woman under a Hill. There was an old woman lived under a hill, And if she's not gone, she lives there still. End of The Old Woman under a Hill. Tweedledum and Tweedledee. Tweedledum and Tweedledee resolved to have a battle, For Tweedledum said Tweedledee had spoiled his nice new rattle. Just then flew by a monstrous crow, As big as a tar barrel, Which frightened both the heroes so, They quite forgot their quarrel. End of Tweedledum and Tweedledee. Crosspatch. Crosspatch, draw the latch, Sit by the fire and spin. Take a cup and drink it up, then call your neighbors in. End of Crosspatch. Oh dear. Dear, dear, what can the matter be? Two old women got up in an apple tree. One came down, and the other stayed till Saturday. End of Oh dear. Old Mother Goose. Old Mother Goose, when she wanted to wander, would ride through the air on a very fine gander. End of Old Mother Goose. Little Jumping Joan. Here am I, little Jumping Joan. When nobody's with me, I'm always alone. End of Little Jumping Joan. Robin Redbreast. Little Robin Redbreast sat upon a tree. Up went Pussy-cat, down went he. Down came Pussy-cat, away Robin ran. Says little Robin Redbreast, "Catch me if you can." Little Robin Redbreast jumped upon a spade. Pussy-cat jumped after him, and then he was afraid. Little Robin chirped and sang, and what did Pussy say? Pussy-cat said, "Mew, mew, mew," and Robin flew away. End of Robin Redbreast. Patty Cake. Pat a cake, baker's man, so I do, master, as fast as I can. Pat it and prick it, and mark it with a T. Put it in the oven for Tommy and me. End of Pat a Cake. Money and the Mare. Lend me thy mare to ride a mile. She is lamed, leaping over a stile. Alack! and I must keep the fare. I'll give thee money for thy mare. Oh, oh, say you so? Money will make the mare to go. End of the Money and the Mare. A Melancholy Song. Trip upon trenches and dance upon dishes. My mother sent me for some barm, some barm. She bid me go lightly and come again quickly, for fear the young men should do me some harm. Yet didn't you see what naughty tricks they put upon me? They broke my pitcher and spilt the water, and huffed my mother, and chid her daughter, and kissed my sister instead of me. End of A Melancholy Song. Jack. Jack be nimble, Jack be quick, Jack jump over the candlestick. End of Jack. Going to St. Ives. As I was going to St. Ives, I met a man with 7 wives. Every wife had 7 sacks, every sack had 7 cats, every cat had 7 kits. Kits, cats, sacks, and wives, how many were going to St. Ives? End of Going to St. Ives. 30 days hath September. 30 days hath September, April, June, and November. February has 28 alone. All of the rest have 31, excepting leap year. That's the time when February's days are 29. End of 30 days hath September. Bees. A swarm of bees in May is worth a load of hay. A swarm of bees in June is worth a silver spoon. A swarm of bees in July is not worth a fly. End of Bees. Baby Dolly. Hush, baby, my dolly, I pray you don't cry, and I'll give you some bread and some milk by and by. Or perhaps you like custard, or maybe a tart? Then to either you're welcome with all my heart. End of Baby Dolly. Come out to play. Girls and boys, come out to play. The moon doth shine as bright as day. Leave your supper and leave your sleep, and come with your playfellows into the street. Come with a whoop or come with a call. Come with a good will or not at all. Up the ladder and down the wall. A halfpenny roll will serve us all. You find milk and I'll find flour, and we'll have pudding in half an hour. End of Come Out to Play. If wishes were horses. If wishes were horses, beggars would ride. If turnips were watches, I would wear one by my side. And if ifs and ands were pots and pans, there'd be no work for tinkers. End of If Wishes Were Horses. Old chairs to mend. If I'd as much money as I could spend, I never would cry old chairs to mend. Old chairs to mend, old chairs to mend, I never would cry old chairs to mend. If I'd as much money as I could tell, I never would cry old clothes to sell. Old clothes to sell, old clothes to sell, I never would cry old clothes to sell. End of Old Chairs to Mend. To market. To market, to buy a fat pig. Home again, jiggity jig. To market, to buy a fat hog. Home again, jiggity jog. To market, to buy a plum bun. Home again, market is done. End of To Market. Robin and Richard. Robin and Richard were two pretty men. They lay in bed till the clock struck 10. Then up starts Robin and looks at the sky. "Oh, brother Richard, the sun's very high. You go before with the bottle and bag, and I will come after on little Jack Nag." End of Robin and Richard. A Man and a Maid. There was a little man who wooed a little maid, and he said, "Little maid, will you wed, wed, wed? I have little more to say, so will you, yea or nay? For least said is soonest mended, dead, dead, dead." The little maid replied, "Should I be your little bride? Pray, what must we have for to eat, eat, eat? Will the flame that you're so rich in light a fire in my kitchen? Or the little god of love turn the spit, spit, spit?" End of A Man and a Maid. The Clever Hen. I had a little hen, the prettiest ever seen. She washed me the dishes and kept the house clean. She went to the mill to fetch me some flour. She brought it home in less than an hour. She baked me my bread, she brewed me my ale. She sat by the fire and told many a fine tale. End of The Clever Hen. Here goes my lord. Here goes my lord, a trot, a trot, a trot, a trot. Here goes my lady, a canter, a canter, a canter, a canter. Here goes my young master, jockey hitch, jockey hitch, jockey hitch, jockey hitch. Here goes my young miss, an amble, an amble, an amble, an amble. The footman lags behind to tipple ale and wine, and goes gallop, a gallop, a gallop, to make up his time. End of Here Goes My Lord. Lucy Locket. Lucy Locket lost her pocket. Kitty Fisher found it. Nothing in it, but the binding round it. End of Lucy Locket. Two birds. There were two birds sat on a stone. Fa la 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 dee. One flew away, and then there was one. Fa la 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 dee. The other bird flew after, and then there was none. Fa la 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 dee. And so the stone was left alone. Fa la 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 dee. End of Two Birds. Leg over leg. Leg over leg, as the dog went to Dover. When he came to a stile, jump, he went over. End of Leg over leg. When Jenny Wren was young. 'Twas once upon a time when Jenny Wren was young. So daintily she danced and so prettily she sung. Robin Redbreast lost his heart, for he was a gallant bird. So he doffed his hat to Jenny Wren, requesting to be heard. "Oh, dearest Jenny Wren, if you will but be mine, you shall feed on cherry pie and drink new currant wine. I'll dress you like a goldfinch or any peacock gay, So, dearest Jen, if you'll be mine, let us appoint the day." Jenny blushed behind her fan, and thus declared her mind: "Since, dearest Bob, I love you well, I'll take your offer kind. Cherry pie is very nice, and so is currant wine, but I must wear my plain brown gown, and never go too fine." End of When Jenny Wren Was Young. The Flying Pig. Dickory, dickory, dare, the pig flew up in the air. The man in brown soon brought him down. Dickory, dickory, dare. End of The Flying Pig. Barber. Barber, barber, shave a pig. How many hairs will make a wig? 24, that's enough. Give the barber a pinch of snuff. End of Barber. Solomon Grundy. Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday, christened on Tuesday, married on Wednesday, took ill on Thursday, worse on Friday, died on Saturday, buried on Sunday. This is the end of Solomon Grundy. End of Solomon Grundy. The Three Wise Men of Gotham. 3 wise men of Gotham went to sea in a bowl. If the bowl had been stronger, my song had been longer. End of The 3 Wise Men of Gotham. Hush-a-bye. Hush-a-bye, baby, on the treetop. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock. When the bough breaks, the cradle will fall. Down will come baby, bough, cradle, and all. End of Hush-a-bye. The Hunter of Reigate. A man went a-hunting at Reigate, and wished to leap over a high gate. Says the owner, "Go round, with your gun and your hound, for you never shall leap over my gate." End of The Hunter of Reigate. Bernie B. Bernie B, Bernie B, tell me when your wedding be. If it be to-morrow day, take your wings and fly away. End of Bernie B. Little Polly Flinders. Little Polly Flinders sat among the cinders, warming her pretty little toes. Her mother came and caught her, whipped her little daughter for spoiling her nice new clothes. End of Little Polly Flinders. Pussy Cat and Queen. Pussy cat, where have you been? I've been to London to look at the Queen. Pussy cat, what did you there? I frightened a little mouse under a chair. End of Pussy Cat and Queen. Ride away, ride away. Ride away, ride away, Johnny shall ride, and he shall have Pussy Cat tied to one side, and he shall have Little Dog tied to the other, and Johnny shall ride to see his grandmother. End of Ride Away, Ride Away. The Winds. Mr. East gave a feast. Mr. North laid the cloth. Mr. West did his best. Mr. South burnt his mouth eating cold potato. End of The Winds. Pippin Hill. As I was going up Pippin Hill was dirty. There I met a pretty miss, and she dropped me a curtsy. Little miss, pretty miss, blessings light upon you. If I had half a crown a day, I'll spend it all upon you. End of Pippin Hill. Just like me. I went up one pair of stairs, just like me. I went up 2 pairs of stairs, just like me. I went into a room, just like me. I looked out of a window, just like me. And there I saw a monkey, just like me. End of Just Like Me. Play days. How many days has my baby to play? Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. End of play days. Christmas. Christmas comes but once a year, and when it comes, it brings good cheer. End of Christmas. Elizabeth. Elizabeth, Elspeth, Betsy, and Bess, they all went together to seek a bird's nest. They found a bird's nest with 5 eggs in. They all took 1 and left 4 in. End of Elizabeth. Hi ho, the carrion crow. A carrion crow sat on an oak. Full day riddle, lull day riddle, hi ding do. Watching a tailor shape his cloak, sing hi ho, the carrion crow. Full day riddle, lull day riddle, hi ding do. Wife, bring me my old bent bow. Full day riddle, lull day riddle, hi ding do. That I may shoot yon carrion crow. Sing hi ho, the carrion crow. Full day riddle, lull day riddle, hi ding do. The tailor he shot and missed his mark. Full day riddle, lull day riddle, hi ding do. And shot his own sow right through the heart. Sing hi ho, the carrion crow. Full day riddle, lull day riddle, hi ding do. Wife, bring brandy in a spoon. Full day riddle, lull day riddle, hi ding do. For our old sow is in a swoon. Sing hi ho, the carrion crow. Full day riddle, lull day riddle, hi ding do. End of Hi Ho, the Carrion Crow. End of Part 1 of The Real Mother Goose. Part 2 of The Real Mother Goose. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. This reading by Allyson Hester of Athens, Georgia. The Real Mother Goose by Anonymous. Part 2. Banbury Cross. Ride a cock horse to Banbury Cross, to see an old lady upon a white horse. Rings on her fingers and bells on her toes, she shall have music wherever she goes. End of Banbury Cross. The Man in Our Town. There was a man in our town, and he was wondrous wise. He jumped into a bramble bush and scratched out both his eyes. But when he saw his eyes were out, with all his might and main, he jumped into another bush and scratched 'em in again. End of The Man in Our Town. A B C. Great A, little a, bouncing B. The cat's in the cupboard and can't see me. End of A B C. A needle and thread. Old Mother Twitchit had but one eye, and a long tail which she let fly, and every time she went through a gap, a bit of her tail she left in a trap. End of A Needle and a Thread. For every evil. For every evil under the sun there is a remedy, or there is none. If there be one, seek till you find it. If there be none, never mind it. End of For Every Evil. Cushy Cow. Cushy cow bonny, let down thy milk, and I will give thee a gown of silk, a gown of silk and a silver tree, if thou wilt let down thy milk to me. End of Cushy Cow. Seesaw. Seesaw, Margery Daw, sold her bed and lay upon straw. End of Seesaw. Georgy Porgy. Georgy Porgy, pudding and pie, kissed the girls and made them cry. When the boys came out to play, Georgy Porgy ran away. End of Georgy Porgy. Wee Willie Winkie. Wee Willie Winkie runs through the town, upstairs and downstairs in his nightgown. rapping at the window, crying through the lock, "Are the children in their beds? Now it's 8 o'clock." Wee Willie Winkie. Robin a bobbin. Robin a bobbin bent his bow, shot at a pigeon and killed a crow. Robin a bobbin. John Smith. Is John Smith within? Yes, that he is. Can he set a shoe? Ay, marry two. Here a nail, there a nail, tick tack too. John Smith. About the bush. About the bush, Willie, about the beehive. About the bush, Willie, I'll meet thee alive. About the bush. 5 toes. This little pig went to market. This little pig stayed home. This little pig had roast beef. This little pig had none. This little pig said, "Wee, wee, I can't find my way home." 5 toes. 3 blind mice. 3 blind mice, see how they run. They all ran after the farmer's wife, who cut their tails with a carving knife. Did you ever see such a thing in your life as 3 blind mice? 3 blind mice. Simple Simon. Simple Simon met a pieman going to the fair. Says Simple Simon to the pieman, "Let me taste your ware." Says the pieman to Simple Simon, "Show me first your penny." Says Simple Simon to the pieman, "Indeed, I have not any." Simple Simon went a fishing for to catch a whale. All the water he could find was in his mother's pail. Simple Simon went to look if plums grew on a thistle. He pricked his fingers very much, which made poor Simon whistle. He went to catch a dicky bird, and thought he could not fail, because he had a little salt to put upon its tail. He went for water with a sieve, but soon it ran all through, and now poor Simple Simon bids you all adieu. Simple Simon. Dr. Foster. Dr. Foster went to Gloucester in a shower of rain. He stepped in a puddle up to his middle and never went there again. Dr. Foster. A little man. There was a little man, and he had a little gun, and his bullets were made of lead, lead, lead. He went to the brook and saw a little duck, and shot it right through the head. He carried it home to his old wife Joan, and bade her a fire to make, to roast the little duck he had shot in the brook, and he'd go and fetch the drake. The drake was a swimming with his curly tail. The little man made his mark. He let off his gun, but he fired too soon, and the drake flew away with a quack, quack, quack. Little man. Jerry Hall. Jerry Hall, he was so small, a rat could eat him, hat and all. Jerry Hall. Lengthening days. As the days grow longer, the storms grow stronger. Lengthening days. Diddle, diddle, dumpling. Diddle, diddle, dumpling, my son John went to bed with his breeches on. One stocking off, one stocking on. Diddle, diddle, dumpling, my son John. Diddle, diddle, dumpling. The black hen. Hickety, pickety, my black hen, she lays eggs for gentlemen. Gentlemen come every day to see what my black hen doth lay. The black hen. The mist. A hill full, a hole full, yet you cannot catch a bowl full. The mist. Miss Muffet. Little Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet, eating of curds and whey. There came a big spider and sat down beside her, and frightened Miss Muffet away. Miss Muffet. Curly Locks. Curly locks, curly locks, wilt thou be mine? Thou shalt not wash the dishes, nor yet feed the swine, but sit on a cushion, and sew a fine seam, and feed upon strawberries, sugar, and cream. Curly Locks. A Candle. Little Nanny Etticoat, in a white petticoat, and a red nose, the longer she stands, the shorter she grows. A Candle. Humpty Dumpty. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men cannot put Humpty Dumpty together again. Humpty Dumpty. Pens. See a pen and pick it up. All the day you'll have good luck. See a pen and let it lay. Bad luck you'll have all the day. Pens. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once I caught a fish alive. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But I let it go again. Why did you let it go? Because it bit my finger so. Which finger did it bite? The little one upon the right. 1, 2, 3. The Dove and the Wren. The dove says, "Coo, coo, what shall I do? I can scarce maintain two." "Pooh, pooh," says the wren, "I've got 10, and keep them all like gentlemen." The Dove and the Wren. Shall we go a-shearing?
Old woman, shall we go a-shearing?
Speak a little louder, sir, I'm very thick of hearing.
Old woman, shall I kiss you dearly?
Thank you, kind sir, I hear you very clearly.
Shall we go a-shearing? Old Mother Hubbard. Old Mother Hubbard went to the cupboard to give her poor dog a bone. But when she got there the cupboard was bare, and so the poor dog had none. She went to the baker's to buy him some bread. When she came back the dog was dead. She went to the undertaker's to buy him a coffin. When she got back the dog was laughing. She took a clean dish to get him some tripe. When she came back he was smoking a pipe. She went to the ale house to get him some beer. When she came back the dog sat in a chair. She went to the tavern for some white wine and red. When she came back the dog stood on his head. She went to the hatter's to buy him a hat. When she came back he was feeding the cat. She went to the barber's to buy him a wig. When she came back he was dancing a jig. She went to the fruiterer's to buy him some fruit. When she came back he was playing the flute. She went to the tailor's to buy him a coat. When she came back he was riding a goat. She went to the cobbler's to buy him some shoes. When she came back he was reading the news. She went to the seamster's to buy him some linen. When she came back the dog was a-spinning. She went to the hosier's to buy him some hose. When she came back he was dressed in his clothes. The dame made a curtsy, the dog made a bow. The dame said, "Your servant," the dog said, "Bow wow." Old Mother Hubbard. Goosey, goosey, gander. Goosey, goosey, gander, whither dost thou wander? Upstairs and downstairs, and in my lady's chamber. There I met an old man who wouldn't say his prayers. I took him by the left leg and threw him down the stairs. Goosey, goosey, gander. Bluebell boy. I had a little boy and called him Bluebell. Gave him a little work, he did it very well. I bade him go upstairs to bring me a gold pen, and coal scuttle fell he up to his little chin. He went to the garden to pick a little sage. He tumbled on his nose and fell into a rage. He went to the cellar to draw a little beer, and quickly did return to say there was none there. Bluebell Boy. Why may not I love Johnny? Johnny shall have a new bonnet, and Johnny shall go to the fair, and Johnny shall have a blue ribbon to tie up his bonny brown hair. And why may not I love Johnny? And why may not Johnny love me? And why may not I love Johnny as well as another body? And here's a leg for a stocking, and here's a foot for a shoe, and he has a kiss for his daddy, and two for his mommy, I trow. And why may not I love Johnny? And why may not Johnny love me? And why may not I love Johnny as well as another body? Why may not I love Johnny? Jack Jelf. Little Jack Jelf was put on the shelf because he could not spell pie. When his Aunt Mrs. Grace saw his sorrowful face, she could not help saying, "Oh, fie!" And since Master Jelf was put on the shelf because he could not spell pie, let him stand there so grim, and no more about him, for I wish him a very good bye. Jack Jelf. Jack Sprat. Jack Sprat could eat no fat, his wife could eat no lean, and so betwixt them both they licked the platter clean. Jack Sprat. Daffodils. Daffy-down-dilly has come to town in a yellow petticoat and a green gown. Daffodils. Hush-a-bye. Hush-a-bye, baby, lie still with thy daddy. Thy mammy has gone to the mill to get some meal to bake a cake, so pray, my dear baby, lie still. Hush-a-bye. The girl in the lane. The girl in the lane that couldn't speak plain cried gobble, gobble, gobble. The man on the hill that couldn't stand still went hobble, hobble, hobble. The girl in the lane. Hush-a-bye. Hush-a-bye, baby, daddy is near. Mamma is a lady, and that's very clear. Hush-a-bye. Nancy Dawson. Nancy Dawson was so fine, she wouldn't get up to serve the swine. She lies in bed till 8 or 9, so it's oh, poor Nancy Dawson. And do ye ken Nancy Dawson, honey? The wife who sells the barley, honey? She won't get up to feed her swine. And do ye ken Nancy Dawson, honey? Nancy Dawson. Handy Pandy. Handy Pandy, Jack-a-dandy, loves plum cake and sugar candy. He bought some at a grocer's shop, and out he came, hop, hop, hop. Handy Pandy. The alphabet. A, B, C, and D. Pray, playmates, agree. E, F, and G. Well, so it shall be. J, K, and L. In peace we will dwell. M, N, and O. To play let us go. P, Q, R, and S. Love may we possess. W, X, and Y. Will not quarrel or die. Z and ampersand. Go to school at command. End of the alphabet. Jack and Jill. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. Then up Jack got, and off did Trot, as fast as he could caper, to old Dame Dob, who patched his nob with vinegar and brown paper. Jack and Jill. Dance to your daddy. Dance to your daddy, my bonny laddie. Dance to your daddy, my bonny lamb. You shall get a fishy on a little dishy. You shall get a fishy when the boat comes home. Dance to your daddy. One misty, moisty morning. One misty, moisty morning, when cloudy was the weather, I chanced to meet an old man, clothed in all leather. He began to compliment, and I began to grin. How do you do, and how do you do, and how do you do again? End of one misty, moisty morning. Robin Hood and Little John. Robin Hood is in the mickle wood. Little John, he to the town is gone. Robin Hood, telling his beads, all in the greenwood, among the green weeds. Little John, if he comes no more, Robin Hood, we shall fret full sore. End of Robin Hood and Little John. Rain. Rain, rain, go to Spain, and never come back again. End of Rain. The Robins. A robin and a robin's son once went to town to buy a bun. They couldn't decide on plum or plain, and so they went back home again. End of the Robins. The Old Woman from France. There came an old woman from France who taught grown-up children to dance, but they were so stiff she sent them home in a sniff, this sprightly old woman from France. The Old Man. There was an old man in a velvet coat. He kissed a maid and gave her a groat. The groat it was cracked and would not go. Ah, old man, do you serve me so? End of Old Man. Teeth and Gums. 30 white horses upon a red hill. Now they tramp, now they champ, now they stand still. End of Teeth and Gums. End of Part 2 of Mother Goose. Part 3 of The Real Mother Goose. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. This reading by Allyson Hester of Athens, Georgia. The Real Mother Goose. Written by Anonymous. Part 3. My Kitten. Hey, my kitten, and hey, my kitten, my dearie, such a sweet pet as this was neither far nor neary. End of My Kitten. The Other Little Tune. I won't be my father's Jack, I won't be my father's Jill, I will be the fiddler's wife, and have music when I will. T'other little tune, t'other little tune, prithee, love, play me t'other little tune. End of T'other Little Tune. If all the seas were one sea. If all the seas were one sea, what a great sea that would be. And if all the trees were one tree, what a great tree that would be. And if all the axes were one axe, what a great axe that would be. And if all the men were one man, what a great man he would be. And if the great man took the great axe and cut down the great tree and let it fall into the great sea, what a splish splash that would be. End of If All the Seas Were One Sea. Pancake Day. Great A, little a, this is pancake day. Toss the ball high, throw the ball low. Those that come after may sing hi ho. End of Pancake Day. Forehead, eyes, cheeks, nose, mouth, and chin. Here sits the Lord Mayor, here sit his 2 men. Here sits the cock, here sits the hen. Here sits the little chickens, here they run in. Chin chopper, chin chopper, chin chopper, chin. End of Forehead, eyes, cheeks, nose, mouth, and chin. A plum pudding. Flower of England, fruit of Spain, melt together in a shower of rain. Put in a bag tied round with a string. If you'll tell me this riddle, I'll give you a ring. End of A Plum Pudding. The Lion and the Unicorn. The lion and the unicorn were fighting for the crown. The lion beat the unicorn all around the town. Some gave them white bread and some gave them brown. Some gave them plum cake and sent them out of town. End of the Lion and the Unicorn. The Merchants of London. Hey diddle dinkety poppity pet, the merchants of London, they wear scarlet. Silk in the collar and gold in the hem, so merrily march the merchant men. End of the Merchants of London. A sure test. If you are to be a gentleman, as I suppose you'll be, you'll neither laugh nor smile for a tickling of the knee. End of a sure test. Lock and key. I am a gold lock, I am a gold key, I am a silver lock, I am a silver key, I am a brass lock, I am a brass key, I am a lead lock, I am a lead key, I am a dawn lock, I am a donkey. End of Lock and Key. I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you a story about Jack and Norrie, and now my story's begun. I'll tell you another about his brother, and now my story is done. End of I'll tell you a story. I had a little husband. I had a little husband no bigger than my thumb. I put him in a pint pot, and there I bid him drum. I bought a little handkerchief to wipe his little nose, and a pair of little garters to tie his little hose. End of I had a little husband. A strange old woman. There was an old woman, and what do you think? She lived upon nothing but victuals and drink. Victuals and drink were the chief of her diet, and yet this old woman could never be quiet. End of a strange old woman. To Babylon. How many miles is it to Babylon? 80 miles and 10. Can I get there by candlelight? Yes, and back again. If your heels are nimble and light, you may get there by candlelight. End of To Babylon. Cry baby. Cry baby, cry, put your finger in your eye, and tell your mother it wasn't I. End of Cry baby. Sleep baby sleep. Sleep baby sleep, our cottage vale is deep. The little lamb is on the green, with woolly fleece so soft and clean. Sleep baby sleep, sleep baby sleep, down where the woodbines creep. Be always like the lamb so mild, a kind and sweet and gentle child. Sleep baby sleep. End of Sleep baby sleep. Baa baa black sheep. Baa baa black sheep, have you any wool? Yes, Mary, have I, 3 bags full. 1 for my master, 1 for my dame, but none for the little boy who cries in the lane. End of Baa baa black sheep. Little Fred. When little Fred went to bed, he always said his prayers. He kissed Mama and then Papa, and straightway went upstairs. End of Little Fred. Dr. Fell. I do not like thee, Dr. Fell. The reason why I cannot tell, but this I know and know full well, I do not like thee, Dr. Fell. End of Dr. Fell. A counting out rhyme. Hickory dickory 6 and 7. Allabone crackabone 10 and 11. Spin spun muskadone. Twiddlem twaddlem 21. End of a counting out rhyme. The cat and the fiddle. Hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle. The cow jumped over the moon. The little dog laughed to see such a sport, and the dish ran away with the spoon. End of the cat and the fiddle. Buttons. Buttons, a farthing a pair. Come, who will buy them of me? They're round and sound and pretty, and fit for girls of the city. Come, who will buy them of me? Buttons, a farthing a pair. End of Buttons. Jack and his fiddle. Jackie, come and give me thy fiddle, if ever thou mean to thrive. Nay, I'll not give my fiddle to any man alive. If I should give my fiddle, they'll think that I've gone mad, for many a joyous day my fiddle and I have had. Jack and his Fiddle. Hot boiled beans. Ladies and gentlemen, come to supper. Hot boiled beans and a very good butter. Hot boiled beans. Little Pussy. I like little Pussy, her coat is so warm, and if I don't hurt her, she'll do me no harm. So I'll not pull her tail, nor drive her away, but Pussy and I very gently will play. Little Pussy. Sing a song of sixpence. Sing a song of sixpence, a pocketful of rye, 24 blackbirds baked in a pie. When the pie was opened, the birds began to sing. Was not that a dainty dish to set before the king? The king was in his counting house, counting out his money. The queen was in the parlor, eating bread and honey. The maid was in the garden, hanging out the clothes, when down came a blackbird and snapped off her nose. Sing a song of sixpence. Tommy Tittlemouse. Little Tommy Tittlemouse lived in a little house. He caught fishes in other men's ditches. Tommy Tittlemouse. The Derby Ram. As I was going to Derby all on a market day, I met the finest ram, sir, that ever was fed upon hay. Upon hay, upon hay, upon hay. I met the finest ram, sir, that was ever fed upon hay. This ram was fat behind, sir, this ram was fat before. This ram was 10 yards round, sir, indeed he was no more. No more, no more, no more. This ram was 10 yards round, sir, indeed he was no more. The horns that grew on his head, sir, they were so wondrous high, as I've been plainly told, sir, they reached up to the sky. The sky, the sky, the sky. As I've been plainly told, sir, they reached up to the sky. The tail that grew from his back, sir, was 6 yards and an ell, and it was sent to Derby to toll the market bell. The bell, the bell, the bell, and it was sent to Derby to toll the market bell. The Derby Ram. The Mulberry Bush. Here we go round the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush. Here we go round the mulberry bush on a cold and frosty morning. This is the way we wash our hands, wash our hands, wash our hands. This is the way we wash our hands on a cold and frosty morning. This is the way we wash our clothes, wash our clothes, wash our clothes. This is the way we wash our clothes on a cold and frosty morning. This is the way we go to school, go to school, go to school. This is the way we go to school on a cold and frosty morning. This is the way we come out of school, come out of school, come out of school. This is the way we come out of school on a cold and frosty morning. The Mulberry Bush. Young lambs to sell. If I'd as much money as I could tell, I never would cry, young lambs to sell, young lambs to sell, young lambs to sell. I never would cry, young lambs to sell. Young lambs to sell. The Hobby Horse. I had a little hobby horse, and it was dapple gray. Its head was made of pea straw, its tail was made of hay. I sold it to an old woman for a copper goat, and I'll not sing my song again without another coat. The Hobby Horse. Old woman, old woman. There was an old woman tossed in a basket, 17 times high as the moon. But where she was going no mortal could tell, for under her arm she carried a broom. Old woman, old woman, old woman, said I, whither, oh whither so high? To sweep the cobwebs from the sky, and I'll be with you by and by. Old woman, old woman. The Boy and the Sparrow. A little cock sparrow sat on a green tree, and he chirruped, so merry was he. A naughty boy came with his wee bow and arrow, determined to shoot this little cock sparrow. This little cock sparrow shall make me a stew, and his giblets shall make me a little pie too.
Oh no, says the sparrow, I won't make a stew.
So he flapped his wings, and away he flew. End of The Boy and the Sparrow. Two Pigeons. I had two pigeons bright and gay, they flew from me the other day. What was the reason they did go? I cannot tell, for I do not know. End of Two Pigeons. The 1st of May. The fair maid who, the 1st of May, goes to the fields at the break of day, and washes in dew from the hawthorn tree, will ever after handsome be. End of the 1st of May. The house that Jack built. This is the house that Jack built. This is the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the cat that killed the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the dog that worried the cat that killed the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the cow with the crumpled horn that tossed the dog that worried the cat that killed the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the maiden all forlorn that milked the cow with the crumpled horn that tossed the dog that worried the cat that killed the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the man all tattered and torn that kissed the maiden all forlorn that milked the cow with the crumpled horn that tossed the dog that worried the cat that killed the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the priest all shaven and shorn that married the man all tattered and torn that kissed the maiden all forlorn that milked the cow with the crumpled horn that tossed the dog that worried the cat that killed the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the cock that crowed in the moon that walked the priest all shaven and shorn that married the man all tattered and torn that kissed the maiden all forlorn that milked the cow with the crumpled horn that tossed the dog that worried the cat that killed the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the farmer sowing the corn that kept the cock that crowed in the morn that waked the priest all shaven and shorn that married the man all tattered and torn that kissed the maiden all forlorn that milked the cow with the crumpled horn that tossed the dog that worried the cat that killed the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. End of The House That Jack Built. Sulky Sue. Here's Sulky Sue, what shall we do? Turn her face to the wall till she comes to. End of Sulky Sue. Saturday, Sunday. On Saturday night shall be all my care to powder my locks and curl my hair. On Sunday morning my love will come in, when he will marry me with a gold ring. End of Saturday, Sunday. End of Part 3 of Mother Goose. Part 4 of The Real Mother Goose. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. This reading by Allyson Hester of Athens, Georgia. The Real Mother Goose by Anonymous. Part 4. The Old Woman and the Peddler. There was an old woman, as I've heard tell. She went to the market her eggs for to sell. She went to the market all on a market day, and she fell asleep on the king's highway. There came by a peddler whose name was Stout. He cut her petticoats all round about. He cut her petticoats up to the knees, which made the old woman to shiver and freeze. When the little old woman did first awake, she began to shiver and she began to shake. She began to wonder and she began to cry, "Lauk a mercy on me, this can't be I. But if it be I, as I hope it be, I've a little dog at home and he'll know me. If it be I, he'll wag his tail, and if it be not I, he'll loudly bark and wail." Home went the little woman, all in the dark. Up got the little dog, and he began to bark. He began to bark, so she began to cry, "Lauk a mercy on me, this is none of I." End of The Old Woman and the Peddler. Little Jenny Wren. Little Jenny Wren fell sick upon a time. In came Robin Redbreast and brought her cake and wine. "Eat well of my cake, Jenny, drink well of my wine." "Thank you, Robin, kindly, you shall be mine." Jenny got well and stood upon her feet, and told Robin plainly she loved him not a bit. Robin, being angry, hopped upon a twig, saying, "Out upon you, fie upon you, bold-faced jig." End of Little Jenny Wren. The Little Moppet. I had a little moppet, and put it in my pocket, and fed it with corn and hay. There came a proud beggar, and swore he should have her, and stole my little moppet away. End of The Little Moppet. Bobby Snooks. Little Bobby Snooks was fond of his books, and loved by his usher and master. But naughty Jack Spry, he got a black eye, and carries his nose in a plaster. End of Bobby Snooks. The Man in the Moon. The man in the moon came tumbling down, and asked which way to Norwich. He went by the south, and burnt his mouth with eating cold pease porridge. End of The Man in the Moon. I saw a ship a-sailing. I saw a ship a-sailing on the sea, and oh, it was laden with pretty things for thee. There were comfits in the cabin, and apples in the hold, and sails were made of silk, and the masts were made of gold. The 24 sailors that stood between the decks were 24 white mice with chains about their necks. The captain was a duck with his packet on his back, and when the ship began to move, the captain said, "Quack, quack." End of I saw a ship a-sailing. A walnut. As soft as silk, as white as milk, as bitter as a gall. A strong wall, and a green coat covers me all. End of A Walnut. One he loves. One he loves, two he loves, three he loves, they say. Four he loves with all his heart, five he casts away. Six he loves, seven she loves, eight they both love. 9 he comes, 10 he tarries, 11 he courts, 12 he marries. End of One he loves. Bat, bat. Bat, bat, come under my hat, and I'll give you a slice of bacon. And when I bake, I'll give you a cake, if I am not mistaken. End of Bat, bat. My love. Saw ye aught of my love a-coming from the market? A peck of meal upon her back, a baby in her basket? Saw ye aught of my love a-coming from the market? End of My Love. The Man of Bombay. There was a fat man of Bombay, who was smoking one sunshiny day, when a bird called a snipe flew away with his pipe, which vexed the fat man of Bombay. End of The Man of Bombay. Hark, hark. Hark, hark, the dogs do bark. Beggars are coming to town. Some in jags, and some in rags, and some in velvet gown. End of Hark, hark. The Hart. The hart he loves the high wood, the hare she loves the hill. The knight he loves his bright sword, the lady loves her will. End of the heart. Poor old Robinson Crusoe. Poor old Robinson Crusoe, poor old Robinson Crusoe. They made him a coat of an old nanny goat. I wonder why they should do so. With a ring-a-ting-a-tang and a ring-a-ting-a-tang, poor old Robinson Crusoe. End of Poor Old Robinson Crusoe. My maid Mary. My maid Mary, she minds the dairy, while I go a-hoeing and a-mowing each morn. Gaily run the reel and the little spinning wheel, while I am singing and mowing my corn. End of My Maid Mary. A sieve. A riddle, as I suppose, 100 eyes and never a nose. End of A sieve. A difficult rhyme. What is the rhyme for porringer? The king he had a daughter fair, and gave the Prince of Orange her. End of A difficult rhyme. Pretty John Watts. Pretty John Watts, we are troubled with rats. Will you drive them out of the house? We have mice too, in plenty, that feast in the pantry. But let them stay and nibble away. What harm in a little brown mouse? End of Pretty John Watts. Good advice. Come when you're called, do what you're bid, shut the door after you, and never be chid. End of Good advice. Buy baby bunting. Buy baby bunting, father's gone a-hunting, mother's gone a-milking, sister's gone a-silking, and brother's gone to buy a skin to wrap the baby bunting in. End of Buy baby bunting. Tom Tom, the piper's son. Tom Tom, the piper's son, stole a pig, and away he run. The pig was eat, and Tom was beat, and Tom ran crying down the street. End of Tom Tom, the piper's son. I love sixpence. I love sixpence, a jolly, jolly sixpence. I love sixpence as my life. I spent a penny of it, I spent a penny of it. I took a penny home to my wife. Oh, my little fourpence, a jolly, jolly fourpence. I love fourpence as my life. I spent 2 pence of it, I spent 2 pence of it, and I took 2 pence home to my wife. End of I love sixpence. Comical folk. In a cottage in Fife lived a man and his wife, who, believe me, were comical folk. For to people's surprise, they both saw with their eyes, and their tongues moved whenever they spoke. When they were asleep, I'm told that to keep their eyes open they could not contrive. They both walked on their feet, and 'twas thought what they eat helped with drinking to keep them alive. End of Comical folk. Cock crow. Cocks crow in the morn to tell us to rise, and he who lies late will never be wise. For early to bed and early to rise is the way to be healthy and wealthy and wise. End of Cock crow. The 3 sons. There was an old woman had 3 sons, Jerry and James and John. Jerry was hanged and James was drowned. John was lost and was never found. And there was an end of her 3 sons, Jerry and James and John. End of The 3 Sons. Tommy Snooks. As Tommy Snooks and Bessie Brooks were walking out one Sunday, says Tommy Snooks to Bessie Brooks, "Wilt marry me on Monday?" End of Tommy Snooks. The Blacksmith. Robert Barnes, my fellow fine, can you shoe this horse of mine? Yes, good sir, that I can, as well as any other man. There's a nail and there's a prod. Now, good sir, your horse is shod. End of The Blacksmith. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. 3, 4, knock at the door. 5, 6, Pick up sticks. 7, 8, lay them straight. 9, 10, a good fat hen. 11, 12, dig and delve. 13, 14, maids a courting. 15, 16, maids in the kitchen. 17, 18, maids a waiting. 19, 20, my plate's empty. End of 1-2, buckle my shoe. 2 gray kits. The 2 gray kits and the gray kit's mother all went over the bridge together. The bridge broke down, they all fell in. May the rats go with you, says Tom Bolin. End of 2 gray kits. Pairs or pairs. 12 pairs hanging high, 12 knights riding by. Each knight took a pair, and yet left a dozen there. End of pairs or pairs. Belle Isle. At the siege of Belle Isle, I was there all the while, all the while, all the while, at the siege of Belle Isle. End of Belle Isle. Cock-a-doodle-doo. Cock-a-doodle-doo, my dame has lost her shoe. My master's lost his fiddlestick, and knows not what to do. Cock-a-doodle-doo, what is my dame to do? Till master finds his fiddlestick, she'll dance without her shoe. End of Cock-a-doodle-doo. Old King Cole. Old King Cole was a merry old soul, and a merry old soul was he. He called for his pipe, and he called for his bowl, and he called for his fiddlers 3. And every fiddler he had a fine fiddle, and a very fine fiddle had he. Twee tweedle-dee, tweedle-dee, went the fiddlers. Oh, there's none so rare as can compare with King Cole and his fiddlers 3. End of Old King Cole. Pussy-cat Mew. Pussy-cat Mew jumped over a coal, and in her best petticoat burnt a great hole. Poor pussy's weeping, she'll have no more milk, until her best petticoat's mended with silk. End of Pussy-cat Mew. See, see. See, see, what shall I see? A horse's head where his tail should be. End of see, see. A well. As round as an apple, as deep as a cup, and all the king's horses can't fill it up. End of a well. Dapple Gray. I had a little pony, his name was Dapple Gray. I lent him to a lady to ride a mile away. She whipped him, she slashed him, she rode him through the mire. I would not lend my pony now for all the lady's hire. End of Dapple Gray. Coffee and tea. Molly, my sister, and I fell out, and what do you think it was all about? She loved coffee, and I loved tea, and that was the reason we couldn't agree. End of Coffee and Tea. A Cock and Bull Story. The cock's on the housetop blowing his horn, the bull's in the barn a threshing of corn, the maids in the meadows are making of hay, the ducks in the river are swimming away. End of A Cock and Bull Story. The Little Girl with a Curl. There was a little girl who had a little curl right in the middle of her forehead. When she was good, she was very, very good, and when she was bad, she was horrid. End of The Little Girl with a Curl. For Baby. You shall have an apple, you shall have a plum, you shall have a rattle when papa comes home. End of For Baby. Dreams. Friday night's dream on Saturday told is sure to come true, be it never so old. End of Dreams. Myself. As I walked by myself and talked to myself, myself said unto me, Look to thyself, take care of thyself, for nobody cares for thee. I answered myself and said to myself in this self same repartee, Look to thyself, or not look to thyself, the self same thing will be. End of Myself. Candle saving. To make your candles last for aye, you wives and maids, give ear-o. To put them out's the only way, says honest John Boldero. End of candle saving. Over the water and over the sea, and over the water to Charlie. I'll have none of your nasty beef, nor I'll have none of your barley, but I'll have some of your very best flour to make a white cake for my Charlie. End of Over the Water. Fears and Tears. Tommy's tears and Mary's fears will make them old before their years. End of Fears and Tears. The Kilkenny Cats. There were once 2 cats of Kilkenny. Each thought there was 1 cat too many. So they fought and they fit and they scratched and they bit, till excepting their nails and the tips of their tails, instead of 2 cats, there weren't any. End of the Kilkenny Cats. A week of birthdays. Monday's child is fair of face. Tuesday's child is full of grace. Wednesday's child is full of woe. Thursday's child has far to go. Friday's child is loving and giving. Saturday's child works hard for its living. But the child that's born on the Sabbath day is bonny and blithe and good and gay. End of A Week of Birthdays. A chimney. Black within and red without, 4 corners round about. End of a chimney. Lady Bird. Lady bird, lady bird, fly away home. Your house is on fire, your children all gone, all but one, and her name is Anne, and she crept under the pudding pan. End of Lady Bird. Old Grimes. Old Grimes is dead, that good old man, we ne'er shall see him more. He used to wear a long brown coat, all buttoned down before. End of Old Grimes. Entery-mentory. Entery-mentory, cuttery corn, apple seed and apple thorn, wire, briar, limber lock, 5 geese in a flock, sit and sing by a spring, O-U-T and in again. End of entery-mentory. The Man Who Had Naught. There was a man and he had naught, and robbers came to rob him. He crept up to the chimney pot, and then they thought they had him. But he got down on the other side, and then they could not find him. He ran 14 miles in 15 days, and never looked behind him. End of The Man Who Had Naught. The Tailors and the Snail. 24 tailors went to kill a snail. The best man among them durst not touch her tail. She put out her horns like a little calo cow. Run, tailors, run, or she'll kill you all in now. End of The Tailors and the Snail. Around the green gravel. Around the green gravel the grass grows green, and all the pretty maids are plain to be seen. Wash them with milk, and clothe them with silk, and write their names with a pen and ink. End of Around the Green Gravel. Caesar's Song. Bow, wow, wow. Whose dog art thou? Little Tom Tinker's dog. Bow, wow, wow. End of Caesar's Song. Billy, Billy. Billy, Billy, come and play while the sun shines bright as day.
Yes, my Polly, so I will, for I love to please you still.
Billy, Billy, have you seen Sam and Betsy on the green?
Yes, my Paul, I saw them pass, skipping o'er the new mown grass.
Billy, Billy, come along, and I will sing a pretty song. End of Billy, Billy. As I was going along. As I was going along, a-singing a comical song, the lane that I went was so long, and the song that I sang was so long, so I went singing along. End of As I Was Going Along. Rock-a-bye Baby. Rock-a-bye baby, thy cradle is green, father's a nobleman, mother's a queen, and Betty's a lady, and wears a gold ring, and Johnny's a drummer, and drums for the king. End of Rock-a-bye Baby. The Man in the Wilderness. The man in the wilderness asked me how many strawberries grew in the sea. I answered him, as I thought good, as many as red herrings grew in the wood. End of The Man in the Wilderness. Hector Protector. Hector Protector was dressed all in green. Hector Protector was sent to the queen. The queen did not like him, no more did the king, so Hector Protector was sent back again. End of Hector Protector. End of Part 4 of The Real Mother Goose. Section 5 of The Real Mother Goose. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. This reading by Allyson Hester of Athens, Georgia. The Real Mother Goose by Anonymous. Section 5. Mary, Mary, quite contrary. Mary, Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow? Silver bells and cockle shells and pretty maids all of a row. End of Mary, Mary, quite contrary. Little Jack Horner. Little Jack Horner sat in the corner, eating of Christmas pie. He put in his thumb and pulled out a plum and said, "What a good boy am I." End of Little Jack Horner. The Bird Scarer. Away, birds, away! Take a little and leave a little, and do not come again, for if you do, I will shoot you through, and there will be an end of you. End of The Bird Scarer. Bessie Bell and Mary Gray. Bessie Bell and Mary Gray, they were two bonny lasses. They built their house upon the lea, and covered it with rushes. Bessie kept the garden gate, and Mary kept the pantry. Bessie always had to wait, while Mary lived in plenty. End of Bessie Bell and Mary Gray. Dance, Thumbkin, dance. Dance, Thumbkin, dance. Keep the thumb in motion. Dance, ye merrymen, every one, all the fingers in motion. For Thumbkin he can dance, the thumb alone moving. Thumbkin he can dance alone, the thumb alone moving. Dance, foremen, dance, the first finger moving. Dance, ye merry men, every one, all moving. But foreman he can dance, the first finger moving. Foreman he can dance alone, the first finger moving. Dance, longmen, dance, the second finger moving. Dance, ye merry men, every one, all moving. For longman he can dance alone, the second finger moving. Longman he can dance alone, the second finger moving. Dance, ringmen, dance, the third finger moving. Dance, ye merry men, dance, all moving. But ringman cannot dance alone, the third finger moving. Ringman he cannot dance alone, the third finger moving. Dance, little dance, the fourth finger moving. Dance, ye merry men, dance, all moving. But little man, he can dance alone, the fourth finger moving. Little man, he can dance alone, the fourth finger moving. End of Dance, Thumbkin, dance. Needles and pins. Needles and pins, needles and pins. When a man marries, his trouble begins. End of Needles and Pins. Pussy Cat and the Dumplings. Pussy cat ate the dumplings, the dumplings. Pussy cat ate the dumplings. Mamma stood by and cried, "Oh, fie! Why did you eat the dumplings?" End of Pussy Cat and the Dumplings. The Little Bird. Once I saw a little bird come hop, hop, hop. So I cried, "Little bird, will you stop, stop, stop?" And was going to the window to say, "How do you do?" But he shook his little tail and far away he flew. End of The Little Bird. Mary's Canary. Mary had a pretty bird, feathers bright and yellow, slender legs, upon my word, he was a pretty fellow. The sweetest note he always sung, which much delighted Mary. She often, where the cage was hung, sat hearing her canary. End of Mary's Canary. Birds of a feather. Birds of a feather flock together, and so will pigs and swine. Rats and mice will have their choice, and so will I have mine. End of Birds of a Feather. The Greedy Man. The greedy man is he who sits and bites bits out of plates, or else takes up an almanac and gobbles all the dates. End of The Greedy Man. The Dusty Miller. Margaret wrote a letter, sealed it with her finger, threw it in the dam for the dusty miller. Dusty was his coat, dusty was the siller, dusty was the kiss I'd from the dusty miller. If I had my pockets full of gold and siller, I would give it all to my dusty miller. End of The Dusty Miller. A Star. Higher than a house, higher than a tree. Oh, whatever can that be? End of A Star. The 10 o'clock Scholar. A diller, a dollar, a 10 o'clock scholar. What makes you come so soon? You used to come at 10 o'clock, but now you've come at noon. End of The 10 o'clock Scholar. An icicle. Lives in winter, dies in summer, and grows with its roots upward. End of An icicle. A ship's nail. Over the water and under the water, and always with its head down. End of A ship's nail. Cock-a-doodle-doo. Oh, my pretty cock, oh, my handsome cock, I pray you do not crow before day, and your comb shall be made of the very beaten gold, and your wings of the silver so gray. End of Cock-a-doodle-doo. Willy Willy. Willy Willy Wilkin kissed the maids a-milkin, fa la la, and with his merry daffing he set them all a-laughing, ha ha ha. End of Willy Willy. The Boy in the Barn. A little boy went into a barn and lay down on some hay. An owl came out and flew about, and the little boy ran away. End of The Boy in the Barn. The Old Woman of Leeds. There was an old woman of Leeds who spent all her time in good deeds. She worked for the poor till her fingers were sore, this pious old woman of Leeds. End of The Old Woman of Leeds. Sunshine. Hickamore, hackamore, on the king's kitchen door. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't drive hickamore, hackamore off the king's kitchen door. End of Sunshine. The Quarrel. My little old man and I fell out. I'll tell you what 'twas all about. I had money and he had none, so that's the way the noise begun. End of The Quarrel. Tongs. Long legs, crooked thighs, little head, no eyes. End of Tongs. Jack Jingle. Little Jack Jingle, he used to live single, but when he got tired of this kind of life, he left off being single and lived with his wife. Now what do you think of little Jack Jingle? Before he was married, he used to live single. End of Jack Jingle. The Pumpkin Eater. Peter, Peter, pumpkin eater, had a wife and couldn't keep her. He put her in a pumpkin shell, and there he kept her very well. End of The Pumpkin Eater. Shoeing. Shoe the colt, shoe the colt, shoe the wild mare. Here a nail, there a nail, yet she goes bare. End of Shoeing. That's all. There was an old woman sat spinning, and that's the first beginning. She had a calf, and that's half. She took it by the tail and threw it over the wall, and that's all. End of That's All. Betty Blue. Little Betty Blue lost her holiday shoe. What shall little Betty do? Give her another to match the other, and then she'll walk upon two. End of Betty Blue. Dance, little baby. Dance, little baby, dance up high. Never mind, baby, mother is by. Crow and caper, caper and crow. There, little baby, there you go. Up to the ceiling, down to the ground, backwards and forwards, round and round. Dance, little baby, and mother will sing with the merry choral, ding, ding, ding. Dance, little baby. My little maid. Hi, diddle doubt, my candle's out. My little maid is not at home. Saddle my hog and bridle my dog, and fetch my little maid home. My little maid. Bedtime. The man in the moon looked out of the moon, looked out of the moon, and said, "'Tis time for all children on the earth to think about getting to bed." Bedtime. For want of a nail. For want of a nail, the shoe was lost. For want of the shoe, the horse was lost. For want of the horse, the rider was lost. For want of the rider, the battle was lost. For want of the battle, the kingdom was lost. And all for the want of a horseshoe nail. For want of a nail. The crooked sixpence. There was a crooked man, and he went a crooked mile. He found a crooked sixpence beside a crooked stile. He bought a crooked cat, which caught a crooked mouse, and they all lived together in a little crooked house. The crooked sixpence. Peas porridge. Peas porridge hot, peas porridge cold, peas porridge in the pot 9 days old. Some like it hot, some like it cold, some like it in the pot 9 days old. Peas porridge. This is the way. This is the way the ladies ride. Try, tray, tray, tree. Try, tray, tray, tree. This is the way the ladies ride. Try, tray, 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 tree, 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 tree. This is the way the gentlemen ride. Gallop a trot, gallop a trot. This is the way the gentlemen ride. Gallop a trot. This is the way the farmers ride. Hobbledy hoy, hobbledy hoy. This is the way the farmers ride. Hobbledy hobbledy hoy. This is the way. Ring a roses. Ring a roses, a pocket full of posies. Tisha, tisha, we all fall down. Ring a roses. The donkey. Donkey, donkey, old and gray, Ope your mouth and gently bray. Lift your ears and blow your horn, To wake this world this sleepy morn. The donkey. If all the world were apple pie, And all the sea were ink, And all the trees were bread and cheese, What should we have for drink? Ducks and drakes. A duck and a drake, and a halfpenny cake, With a penny to pay the old baker. A hop and a scotch is another notch. Slitherum, slatherum, take her. Ducks and drakes. The bells. You owe me 5 shillings, say the bells of St. Helen's. When will you pay me, say the bells of Old Bailey. When I grow rich, say the bells of Shoreditch. When will that be, say the bells of Stepney. I do not know, says the great bell of Bow. 2 sticks and an apple, ring the bells of Whitechapel. Halfpence and farthings, say the bells of St. Martin's. Kettles and pans, say the bells of St. Anne's. Brickbats and tiles, say the bells of St. Giles. Old shoes and slippers, say the bells of St. Peter's. Pokers and tongs, say the bells of St. John's. The bells. The little girl and queen. Little girl, where have you been? Gathering roses to give to the queen. Little girl, what gave she you? She gave me a diamond as big as my shoe. Little girl and queen. The King of France. The King of France went up the hill with 20,000 men. The King of France came down the hill and ne'er went up again. The King of France. Peter Piper. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked? Peter Piper. The tarts. The Queen of Hearts, she made some tarts, all on a summer's day. The Knave of Hearts, he stole the tarts, and took them clean away. The king of hearts called for the tarts, and beat the knave full sore. The knave of hearts brought back the tarts, and vowed he'd steal no more. End of the tarts. 1 to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I caught a hare alive. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I let her go again. End of 1 to 10. An equal. Read my riddle, I pray. What God never sees, what the king seldom sees, what we see every day. End of an equal. What are little boys made of? What are little boys made of? Made of? What are little boys made of? Snaps and snails and puppy dogs' tails, and that's what little boys are made of. What are little girls made of? Made of? What are little girls made of? Sugar and spice and all that's nice, and that's what little girls are made of. End of What Are Little Boys Made Of? Little maid, pretty maid, whither goest thou? Down in the forest to milk my cow. Shall I go with thee? No, not now. When I send for thee, then come thou. End of Little Maid. Come, let's to bed. To bed, says Sleepyhead. Tarry a while, says Slow. Put on the pan, says Greedy Nan. We'll sup before we go. End of Come, let's to bed. The Girl and the Birds. When I was a little girl about 7 years old, I hadn't got a petticoat to cover me from the cold, so I went into Darlington, that pretty little town, and there I bought a petticoat, a cloak, and a gown. I went into the woods and built me a kirk, and all the birds of the air, they helped me to work. The hawk with his long claws pulled me down the stone, the dove with her rough bill brought me them home. The parrot was the clergyman, the peacock was the clerk, the bullfinch played the organ, we made merry work. End of The Girl and the Birds. Bandy Legs. As I was going to sell my eggs, I met a man with bandy legs and crooked toes. I tripped up his heels, and he fell on his nose. End of Bandy Legs. Little Tom Tucker. Little Tom Tucker sings for his supper. What shall he eat? White bread and butter. How will he cut it without e'er a knife? How will he be married without e'er a wife? End of Little Tom Tucker. A Pig. As I went to Bonner, I met a pig without a wig, upon my word and honor. End of a Pig. Jenny Wren. As little Jenny Wren was sitting by her shed, she waggled with her tail and nodded with her head. She waggled with her tail and nodded with her head, as little Jenny Wren was sitting by the shed. End of Jenny Wren. Where are you going, my pretty maid? Where are you going, my pretty maid? I'm going a milking, sir, she said. May I go with you, my pretty maid? You're kindly welcome, sir, she said. What is your father, my pretty maid? My father's a farmer, sir, she said. What is your fortune, my pretty maid? My face is my fortune, sir, she said. Then I can't marry you, my pretty maid. Nobody asked you, sir, she said. End of Where Are You Going, My Pretty Maid? The Old Woman of Gloucester. There was an old woman of Gloucester, whose parrot 2 guineas it cost her, but its tongue never ceasing was vastly displeasing to the talkative woman of Gloucester. End of The Old Woman of Gloucester. Multiplication is vexation. Multiplication is vexation. Division is as bad. The rule of 3 doth puzzle me, and practice drives me mad. End of Multiplication is vexation. Little King Boggin. Little King Boggin, he built a fine hall. Pie crust and pastry crust, that was the wall. The windows were made of black puddings and white, and slated with pancakes, you ne'er saw the like. End of Little King Boggin. Bell horses. Bell horses, what time of day? 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 and away. End of Bell horses. Whistle. Whistle, daughter, whistle. Whistle, daughter dear.
I cannot whistle, mammy, I cannot whistle clear.
Whistle, daughter, whistle. Whistle for a pound.
I cannot whistle, mammy, I cannot make a sound.
End of whistle. End of part 5 of The Real Mother Goose. Part 6 of The Real Mother Goose. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. This reading by Allyson Hester of Athens, Georgia. The Real Mother Goose by Anonymous. Section 6. Taffy. Taffy was a Welshman. Taffy was a thief. Taffy came to my house and stole a piece of beef. I went to Taffy's house. Taffy was not home. Taffy came to my house and stole a marrow bone. I went to Taffy's house. Taffy was not in. Taffy came to my house and stole a silver pin. I went to Taffy's house. Taffy was in bed. I took up the marrow bone and flung it at his head. End of Taffy. A thorn. I went to the wood and got it. I sat me down to look for it, and brought it home because I couldn't find it. End of a thorn. The robin. The north wind doth blow, and we shall have snow. And what will poor Robin do then? Poor thing! He'll sit in a barn, and keep himself warm, and hide his head under his wing. Poor thing! End of the robin. Young Roger and Dolly. Young Roger came tapping at Dolly's window. Thumpity, thumpity, thump. He asked for admittance. She answered him no. Frumpity, frumpity, frump. No, Roger, no. As you came, you may go. Stumpity, stumpity, stump. End of Young Roger and Dolly. The Old Woman of Harrow. There was an old woman of Harrow who visited in a wheelbarrow, and her servant before knocked loud at each door to announce the Old Woman of Harrow. End of the Old Woman of Harrow. The Piper and his Cow. There was a piper had a cow, and he had naught to give her. He pulled out his pipes and played her a tune, and bade the cow consider. The cow considered very well, and gave the piper a penny, and bade him play the other tune, Corn rigs are bonny. End of Piper and his Cow. The Man of Derby. A little old man of Derby, how do you think he served me? He took away my bread and cheese, and that is how he served me. End of The Man of Derby. The Coachman. Up at Piccadilly, oh! the coachman takes his stand, and when he meets a pretty girl, he takes her by the hand. Whip away forever, oh! drive away so clever, oh! all the way to Bristol, oh! he drives her four in hand. End of The Coachman. There was an old woman. There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread. She whipped them all soundly and put them to bed. End of There Was an Old Woman. The Little Mouse. I have seen you, little mouse, running all about the house. Through the hole your little eye, in the wainscot peeping sly, hoping soon some crumbs to steal, to make quite a hearty meal. Look before you venture out, see if pussy is about. If she's gone, you'll quickly run to the larder for some fun. Round about the dishes creep, taking into each a peep, to choose the daintiest that's there, spoiling things you do not care. End of The Little Mouse. The Old Woman of Surrey. There was an old woman in Surrey, who was morn, noon, and night in a hurry, called her husband a fool, drove the children to school, the worrying old woman of Surrey. End of the Old Woman of Surrey. Ding dong bell. Ding dong bell, pussy's in the well. Who put her in? Little Tommy Lin. Who pulled her out? Little Johnny Stout. What a naughty boy was that, to try to drown poor Pussy cat, who never did him any harm, but killed the mice in his father's barn. End of Ding dong bell. When I was a bachelor, I lived by myself, and all the bread and cheese I got, I laid up on the shelf. The rats and the mice, they made such a strife, I was forced to go to London to buy me a wife. The streets were so bad, and the lanes were so narrow, I was forced to bring my wife home in a wheelbarrow. The wheelbarrow broke, and my wife had a fall. Down came wheelbarrow, little wife and all. End of When. Boy and Girl. There was a little boy and a little girl, lived in an alley. Says the little boy to the little girl, shall I? Oh, shall I? Says the little girl to the little boy, what shall we do? Says the little boy to the little girl, I will kiss you. End of Boy and Girl. London Bridge. London Bridge is broken down, dance over my Lady Lee. London Bridge is broken down, with a gay lady. How shall we build it up again? Dance over my Lady Lee. How shall we build it up again? With a gay lady. Build it up with silver and gold, dance over my Lady Lee. Build it up with silver and gold, with a gay lady. Silver and gold will be stole away, dance over my Lady Lee. Silver and gold will be stole away, with a gay lady. Build it up with iron and steel, dance over my Lady Lee. Build it up with iron and steel, with a gay lady. Iron and steel will bend and bow, dance over my Lady Lee. Iron and steel will bend and bow, with a gay lady. Build it up with wood and clay, dance over my Lady Lee. Build it up with wood and clay, with a gay lady. Wood and clay will wash away, dance over my Lady Lee. Wood and clay will wash away, with a gay lady. Build it up with stones so strong, dance over my Lady Lee. Huzza, 'twill last for ages long, with a gay lady. End of London Bridge. Sing, sing. Sing, sing, what shall I sing? Cats run away with the pudding string. Do, do, what shall I do? The cat has bitten it quite in two. End of Sing, sing. March winds. March winds and April showers bring forth Mayflowers. End of March winds. Hot cross buns. Hot cross buns, hot cross buns, 1 a penny, 2 a penny, hot cross buns, hot cross buns, hot cross buns. If ye have no daughters, give them to your sons. End of Hot Cross Buns. The Lost Shoe. Doodle doodle doo, the princess lost her shoe. Her highness hopped, the fiddler stopped, not knowing what to do. End of The Lost Shoe. Hot Codlins. There was a little woman, as I've been told, who was not very young nor very old. Now this little woman her living got by selling codlins, hot, hot, hot. End of Hot Codlins. The Balloon. What is the news of the day? Good neighbor, I pray. They say the balloon is gone up to the moon. End of the Balloon. A Cherry. As I went through the garden gap, who should I meet but Dick Redcap, a stick in his hand, a stone in his throat. If you tell me this riddle, I'll give you a groat. End of A Cherry. The Man of Tobago. There was an old man of Tobago, who lived on rice, gruel, and sago, till much to his bliss, his physician said this: "To a leg, sir, of mutton you may go." End of The Man of Tobago. Swan, 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 over the sea, swim, swan, swim. Swan, swan, back again, well swum, swan. End of Swan. Three straws on a staff would make a baby cry and laugh. End of Three Straws. A sunshiny shower won't last half an hour. End of A Sunshiny Shower. Christmas is coming, the geese are getting fat. Please to put a penny in an old man's hat. If you haven't got a penny, a halfpenny will do. If you haven't got a halfpenny, God bless you. End of Christmas. The Farmer and the Raven. A farmer went trotting upon his gray mare, bumpety, bumpety, bump, with his daughter behind him, so rosy and fair, lumpety, lumpety, lump. A raven cried croak, and they all tumbled down, bumpety, bumpety, bump. The mare broke her knees, and the farmer his crown, lumpety, lumpety, lump. The mischievous raven flew laughing away, bumpety, bumpety, bump, and vowed he would serve them the same the next day, lumpety, lumpety, lump. End of The Farmer and the Raven. The Death and Burial of Poor Cock Robin. Who killed Cock Robin? I, said the sparrow, with my bow and arrow. I killed Cock Robin. Who saw him die? I, said the fly, with my little eye. I saw him die. Who caught his blood? I, said the fish, with my little dish. I caught his blood. Who'll make his shroud? I, said the beetle, with my thread and needle. I'll make his shroud. Who'll carry the torch? I, said the linnet. I'll come in a minute. I'll carry the torch. Who'll be the clerk? I, said the lark. If it's not in the dark, I'll be the clerk. Who'll dig his grave? I, said the owl. With my spade and trowel, I'll dig his grave. Who'll be the parson? I, said the rook. With my little book, I'll be the parson. Who'll be the chief mourner? I, said the dove. I'll mourn for my love. I'll be chief mourner. Who'll sing a psalm? I, said the thrush. As I sit in a bush, I'll sing a psalm. Who'll carry the coffin? I, said the kite. If it's not in the night, I'll carry the coffin. Who'll toll the bell? I, said the bull. Because I can pull, I'll toll the bell. All the birds of the air fell sighing and sobbing when they heard the bell toll for poor Cock Robin. End of The Death and Burial of Poor Cock Robin. Willie Boy. Willie boy, where are you going? I will go with you, if that I may. I'm going to the meadow to see them a-mowing. I'm going to help them to make the hay. End of Willie Boy. Polly and Sooky. Polly, put the kettle on. Polly, put the kettle on. Polly, put the kettle on, and let's drink tea. Sooky, take it off again. Sooky, take it off again. Sooky, take it off again. They're all gone away. End of Polly and Sooky. The Mouse and the Clock. Hickory dickory dock, the mouse ran up the clock. The clock struck one, and down he run. Hickory dickory dock. End of The Mouse and the Clock. Bobby Shaftoe. Bobby Shaftoe's gone to sea, with silver buckles on his knee. He'll come back and marry me. Pretty Bobby Shaftoe. Bobby Shaftoe's fat and fair, combing down his yellow hair. He's my love for evermore. Pretty Bobby Shaftoe. End of Bobby Shaftoe. The Bunch of Blue Ribbons. Oh dear, what can the matter be? Oh dear, what can the matter be? Oh dear, what can the matter be? Johnny's so long at the fair. He promised he'd buy me a bunch of blue ribbons. He promised he'd buy me a bunch of blue ribbons. He promised he'd buy me a bunch of blue ribbons to tie up my bonny brown hair. End of the bunch of blue ribbons. Pussy cat by the fire. Pussy cat sits by the fire. How can she be fair? In walks the little dog. Says, Pussy, are you there? How do you do, Mistress Pussy? Mistress Pussy, how do you do? I thank you kindly, little dog. I fare as well as you. End of Pussy cat by the fire. When the snow is on the ground. The little robin grieves when the snow is on the ground, for the trees have no leaves, and no berries can be found. The air is cold, the worms are hid. For Robin, hear what can be done. Let's strew around some crumbs of bread, and then he'll live till snow is gone. End of When the Snow is on the Ground. The Woman of Exeter. There dwelt an old woman at Exeter. When visitors came, it sore vexed her. So for fear they should eat, she locked up all her meat, the stingy old woman of Exeter. End of The Woman of Exeter. Sneezing. If you sneeze on Monday, you sneeze for danger. Sneeze on Tuesday, kiss a stranger. Sneeze on Wednesday, sneeze for a letter. Sneeze on Thursday, something better. Sneeze on a Friday, sneeze for sorrow. Sneeze on a Saturday, joy tomorrow. End of sneezing. End of part 6 and end of The Real Mother Goose. This has been a LibriVox recording by Allyson Hester in March 2008.